Hello, Dave. Hey, good evening. Kiri, hello. Julie, you're here. Good. Good, good, good. Good evening to you. Oh, sorry. It's a little chillier today. So, hi, Alicia. Good evening to you. Welcome, welcome. So I'm going to change this up here. Live chat. Oh, so good to see you guys. Oh, my goodness. So, welcome this fine Monday on August 1st. So, what has everybody been up to this past week? We actually have it was stormy yesterday. We had a couple different storms come through, got quite a bit of rain. Today it's been beautiful. The high was 75. And it's already cooling down now. So, Grammy Karen, hello. Karen's Garden, good evening. Welcome. Gil, hello. Aw, that's so sweet of you to run those ads. I really appreciate that. That helps a lot, actually. Nightcrawler, good evening to you. Donna, hi. Getting the gang all here. Oh, good evening. Hello, hello. Well, today is actually my dad's birthday. He would have been 92 today, but it's been what about just 7 weeks, 7 weeks now, 7 weeks since he passed away. So it's we could just call up a happy birthday to him today, and it was kind of sweet in that way. What do we got here? So yeah, it's been warm actually. Well, today has been really nice. Tomorrow, oh my goodness, we're supposed to be almost 100 degrees. So yeah, something coming in pretty warm tomorrow. So not really planning too many outdoor activities for tomorrow. Oh, so how have things been in your neck of the woods? Oh, Dave, thank you. Yeah, doing okay. He's spending the best birthday of his life right now. Truly, to be with our Lord, and could be happier for him in that way. So um, it's just kind of one of those milestones, to kind of just like you know remember him by and stuff. So yeah, the first year is kind of definitely different. A heavenly birthday, absolutely. You have a second tomato coming out. Awesome. That is so good. Yeah, it's so exciting to see. You put a little seed in some dirt, and then all of a sudden you see this plant grow, and they start to see the fruit grow on it, and it's pretty amazing. It really is. I'm really happy for you, Alicia, that you're starting to experience that, and that looks really, really good. Last Thursday was the anniversary of your best friend's death. Oh, so sorry, Dave. Yeah, I hear you. Kiri said you have an 8-foot fence around your garden, which keeps the deer and goats out, but not rabbits and armadillos. Oh, yeah. As we get into the fencing, everything, there's so many different things to consider. There really are. So, right, Donna? They must be beautiful. So, to yeah, to spend the day that you were born celebrating that with the creator of you. So yeah, kind of cool. So um well, Kiri, I'm hoping that things are starting to wane a little bit there for you, that temps will start coming down. um that Do you have much humidity with that too? um Hi, Lori. Welcome. You're new to following. Well, thank you so much for coming. We have a really good crew of people here. Our homesteading community is just amazing, and they they just give up an hour every Monday night to come and join me, and it's been so wonderful. Really, really appreciate it. So Gil says they're very hot. I saw that you've been doing concrete work like crazy. Oh my goodness. Chris got her boss to let her stay another week. Okay. Very nice. Very, very nice. Your green beans are finally growing. Oh, you had to plant twice. I've had to do that a number of years, but I'm so glad that they're going for you now. That is so great. High 80s, moderate humidity, nothing like, oh, yeah. It's so funny when I watch Lumna Acres. So when Alice like, oh yeah, it's a hot one today. We're in the upper 70s. Like, oh Al, oh yeah, or it's gonna hit 80 or something. It's like, yeah, that's a nice summer day here. It's not a hot one. Uh, so you are in the dryer. Okay, Carrie. Yeah, I knew you were drying up there, but I didn't know if you got the humidity with that or not. But um, you just picked them. Awesome, Dave. That is so great. If mine are growing, I am going to have to fertilize them though, because for some reason they're really a lighter green again this year, and I don't know why. It's got to be the seed that I've been growing. I think I'm going to have to switch that up, but. So, oh, Alan Jean are about an hour north. You so cool. I love the 70s. I know. Um, they are in New Hampshire, I believe, right? Or are they in Vermont, Dave? I thought they were in New Hampshire, but Glenn, good evening. Thanks so much for coming in. That is so great. New Hampshire. Okay, yeah, central New Hampshire. So, yeah, Alumna Acres there. They bought 500 acres of wilderness, and what did they buy that? About a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago, and no, oh, maybe now 2 years ago. Time goes so fast, but they cleared out a bunch of a big area, and they're building a brand new homestead out there, all off grid. So it's pretty wild to see what they're doing and building up. So they've got a lot of work ahead of them, but boy, those two, they they just go at it. So you're in southeast New Hampshire, okay? For some reason, I thought you were in Vermont. I don't know why. There's somebody that's in Vermont. Oh, that's Morgan Gold. He's in Vermont. That's right. Yeah, 500 acres is like wow. But it was all woodland and swamps and stuff like that, and so they actually had um, I don't know, it was a forestry or an independent company come in and clear a lot of. They cleared that area, and then they've gone through and gotten a lot of um, old trees and somewhat dead trees and everything. So they're doing a lot of forestry maintenance up there, and so all the wood is going to the company, and so they're actually Al and Gina getting paid to have this company come in and get their wood and clear it out for them. So it's like, wow, what a great idea. So good. Good, good, Martin. Yes, he does. He does. So, um, that's so great. So wonderful. Well, yeah, we're supposed to be hot tomorrow, stormy, um, kind of up and down this week in that way. So I spent Friday and Saturday at my dad's and going through all this stuff. We're getting ready for a big garage sale, kind of an estate garage sale. So we're just trying to get rid of everything. And so clearing out the house and setting up all the stuff in the garage, and it's a lot of work. I'm going another couple days this week, and the sale is in 2 weeks. I think, yeah, 2 weeks from now. Yep, 2 weeks. And so we've got a lot of work to do. But anyway, it's coming along. Oh, Dave, how many acres do you have, Dave? That's true, Donna. And what we've started doing is anything that is that my mom had boxed up, that's just like memorabilia or photo albums or just stuff that we really need to go through that's personal, that you wouldn't put out at a garage sale anyway. We are just boxing those up, putting them in my sister's garage, and we will go through those in a few months, just do it as a winter project or something and take our time with that. And otherwise it would just take us forever to go through everything, and it would be too overwhelming. So right now we're just kind of really focusing on the stuff that is saleable, and then things that we need to get rid of. So yeah, so Alicia, you'll be getting what we are getting tomorrow. So yeah, we're the estate sale. We're not, I think you can do it in different ways, but we're not having people come into the house and take stuff. So it's really a garage sale, but it's for, I think we're going to advertise it as estate because, it's just like everything of theirs is going. So, rather than just a regular garage sale. So, yeah, we have to be very careful on that. So thanks. Hi, Patty. How are you? So anyway, that's where a lot of my extra time has been these days, and energy. So I did that Friday and Saturday, came home and slept all day Sunday. I was just so worn out. Because you're in this hot garage, it's 90 in there, and and it's like you're lifting and moving stuff and going through things, and it's dusty and dirty and so anyway. But yeah, things are growing well in my garden. The tomatoes, I had staked them. They're up probably, I want to say about 15 inches now. So they're coming along, considering I just planted, when did I plant? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? It must have been 3 weeks now. So I forgot now. But anyway, thank you, Karen. Yeah. Hello, Mindy. Red Wing. Beautiful down there. If nobody has been to Minnesota, it would be worth your time for a trip someday. In the summer, I would recommend, not necessarily January or February, but southern Minnesota along, so Red Wing is right along the Mississippi River in southern Minnesota, and following all the way up, and getting up into the North Woods. We have so much beautiful country here. If you ever get a chance to, it's pretty amazing. So you have some other trees mixed in, so you'd have them, you could plant anything. Oh, there you go. Oh, Alicia, very nice. Very, very good. You've got 2 riverboats? Oh, how fun. Yeah, there's a lot of riverboat traffic. I mean, things that you can take, riverboat cruises and everything up and down the Mississippi. So it's very, very nice. Donna, it's crazy. It depends on the, I think last summer was just so hot, and the tomatoes didn't do well because it was so hot. But anyway, so what I wanted to kind of cover is like, you put in a little garden. It might be 100 square feet, it might be, 1,200 square feet, whatever you have there. And hey, Patty, from Southern Bless Homestead, how are you? Have I covered yellow salsify in any videos? I've not heard of that. I'll have to look that up. But anyway, so we have little gardens, and if you have, even if you're in the middle of a city and you're in a suburb or something, and you've got a backyard garden, and everything, there are still going to be maybe rabbits. There's going to be um, cats or dogs or something that might roam and get into your garden. You might even end up with mice or voles or something like that. And it's like, how do you protect your garden from those things? And we're going to talk about a number of different kinds of fencing and stuff like that, but it's all going to depend on what kind of critters you have and that you need to defend from. So you have, more in the south, you have possums. In the southwest, you've got armadillos. Up north, there's a lot more deer. And, there's just all kinds of things that you need to deal with. So, oh, I'm sorry, Patty. That's hard when your mice don't work there. Um, so, you know, um, so the main reason that a gardener would want a fence is that, you're not the only one who wants some fresh produce. I mean, there might be like squirrels, like I said, neighborhood cats. There's, the birds might come in. It's like, how do you protect your food that you've worked so hard for, that you've put a lot of money into, getting the setup? How do you protect them from getting what you need, especially as we go forward and that food may be vitally important, not just like, oh, my garden didn't do well this year, and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, we don't have this food to feed our family. So the yeah, but it's like, every animal is going to want in the neighborhood is or around your area is going to want some of your food too. So, and they can literally come in and destroy it overnight. I've seen enough videos and things where, they're going, oh, this is so great. Well, I just watched one, was it yesterday or the day before, from Living Traditions Homestead, and how Kevin and Sarah were showing, what the heat is doing to all their vegetables and their fruit, and it's just devastating them. But they were like showing in their high tunnel, then it was like, oh, things were doing so incredibly well. But then they went to one corner and said there was, I think they said a hedgehog that they figured had gone in and just decimated a whole corner of their food. And it was like, oh my goodness. And so he's like, yeah, that hedgehog is seeing its last days. He's going after that and everything. But hi, Michigan daffodil. That is true. They get your green apples. They wait till mine are ripe. They're just about ripe when I can go pick them, and then they attack my trees too. So yeah, and it's hard because the trees are so big. That I don't know, other than putting some, if it's a smaller tree, like a dwarf apple or something, and being able to put some bird netting up there and wrap it around. I don't know how to do that, but oh, so Grammy Karen, you have a garden with 6-foot high fencing, and it doesn't keep the rabbits or the crows out. Yeah, so if you have things that are coming from above too, that's oh, Tinker's wife, thanks for coming. I'm sorry that you're having trouble with that. But yes, everybody's going to end up dealing with something. And like this year, I just, the strawberries were growing like crazy and doing well in June. Well, that's when my dad died and everything was going on, and my sister-in-law and everything. And so it was like I never got out to cover my strawberries with the bird netting, and the birds got a good half of them. So it's when deer ate your strawberries this year. Oh no. um would a sprinkler stop the squirrels? Well, you can't really run the sprinkler all 24/7 either. But anyway, so the people have used things like guard dogs or sprays or fishing line or even peeing around the perimeter of your garden and everything. They might be effective for a time, but animals are actually very smart and they will eventually catch on. And it's like if you go out and pee, then it rains and it's like that doesn't do any good, or dries up and the smell is gone, all that kind of stuff. But fencing, even though it may be more, oh, motion detecting sprinklers. Oh, I didn't know that there were those. That would be kind of fun. So when you could put those at your front door too and keep people away. It's like, so just the light goes on and psh, they get sprayed. You probably went out and do that with your mailman though, or something, or your pastor comes to your door. Oh, oh, Dave. Oh, no. Um, Short, ugly fence because the rabbit were eating your calendula. Those rabbits, they'll get to anything. 0 strawberries. You worked so hard the last 2 or 3 years at propagating and planting. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's so discouraging. It really is. Um, okay. Yes, that's a good idea. That's a good idea, Patty. So I'll have to check into that more. So, um, but anyway, so even though fencing might cost more right away, it pays off in itself over time because you can save your food. So anyway, there's a few things to think about when you're choosing your fencing. Um, so make sure it's tall enough to keep your animals out. Now, if you're only dealing with rabbits and dogs and cats and stuff like that, you really don't have to go any taller than like 3 feet. Um, just a good fencing around there. And I'm talking from the ground up. And there's going to be a few techniques that I'll talk about, but when I talk about the footage, it's going to be mostly the ground up. Hey, Debbie, good evening to you. Garlic spray. Okay. Yes, mint does work really well too. Anything that's really fragrant, because the rabbits are so sensitive, they're in their smell and their noses and stuff. So if you have something that's really powerful, like garlic or mint or different things, mixed in with your calendula and things like that, they'll stay away from it. Um, so, but yes, keeping your fence tall enough. Now, if you're dealing with deer, you're going to need to go much taller. But there's a little trick with that too. So we'll kind of, talk about a number of different things. But first of all, I'll kind of go with deer since, there's enough of you that are kind of close to wooded areas that you might have, an issue with it or something. So deer, you think, well, maybe a 6-foot tall fence is enough. It's not. It either has to be at least 8 feet tall, or there's another trick with that. You can make it look wider, broader than or deeper, I should say, than what it really is. So then you can go with like a 5 or 6 foot fence. Or 5.5 is usually pretty good, but anyway, 5 to 6. And so, but if you, I know Living Traditions has around their garden area, they put in a double row of fencing and actually made that like a chicken run in between it. So I think they have, what did they have? Somewhere 5 to 8 feet or something between the two. So when deer see that there is to be a great distance that they have to jump between the two, they won't try it because they can get hung up on the second one. And so they'll just avoid that then. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Yes, they are quite the jumpers. So, first of all, putting up an 8 foot tall fence is, that can be really cost prohibitive, but the and it's like hard to build one in that way, and then to keep out the other critters too. But so your 8 foot fence keeps the deer out, but the stupid guinea flies, oh, there you go. So you're trying to keep out the birds too. um You have a 5 foot, they could jump if they want, but inside the fence is trellises and cattle panel, bad landing places. There you go, Dave. So, yep, they don't like those. If they see that there's not a safe way to land, they won't do that. So, you can either do the double fence thing if you have a large area and you want to do that. But let's say you have a garden that's just like 20 feet by 30 feet or something like that. And putting up a double fence like that is really impractical. Something that you can do that's worked for people is to put up a 5.5 foot fence, and have a nice, good, solid fence around. And it can be, whatever you want. I mean, it could be, it could be a solid wood fence. It could be a chain link. It could be just cattle panel, whatever you want. There's different things like that. But the basic premise for this is then to have the fence and then have outside of the fence, have about a 4 foot deep area of plants, of like you could throw in your marigolds and your different things and just fill it with all kinds of shrubs and flowers and things to make it look beautiful, but things that the deer wouldn't normally eat. They don't normally eat marigolds because they're really strong smelling. Rabbits don't eat marigolds either. So, just you could landscape it out so that all of a sudden it looks like they would have to jump 5 feet on that, and then they would get hung up on the fence. So in that way, it's visually deceptive for them, and more beautifying for you, as well as being able to you know protect your garden. You don't have to put up as much fencing. Now, to have all of those bushes and shrubs around there, yes, it's some extra work, but maybe think about perennials that you could put in there that would be things that the deer might not eat. I don't know if they eat like lilies and all that kind of stuff. You could whatever shrubs that you'd want to fill in there, that would be something to do. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Yes, make hard landing places. The garden with raised beds looks like a bad landing spot too. Okay. Like ankle breakers. There you go. Use a 7 foot tall bird or deer netting around your garden, and just use green posts with zip ties. See, there you go. You can get very, very creative. You can use, that bird netting around there. If you can get some that is pretty durable, so you're not having to replace it every year, you can use like a plastic, a little sturdier plastic mesh. That would be, we kind of call it like snow fencing up here, but there's I don't know what other term it would be used, but you know, you don't want a bright orange, but you get it in um, either, you know, black or a dark green or something like that, so it kind of fits in. But and just, yes, attach it to T-posts, keep it around. So um, that's another thing too. If they're sure they can't get back out, they won't get in. That's very true. You're trying to plant around the perimeter. Oh, there you go, Patty. That is great. And you have a good sized garden. So I know that's a lot of work. And that's so true. Oh, oh, Dave. Uh, yes, that you don't want to get snagged down there. That's for sure. Oh, so so anyway, that is an idea. If you have a lot of deer problems, you know, just make it a depth thing. Have other things that you know, if you're going to put up other trellises inside your garden, you know, that have that within maybe 6 feet of the perimeter fence or something like that. Just things that, yes, it doesn't look like it's an easy landing for them or be able to get out. So, so anyway, that would be for the deer. So if they perceive it to be wider, they're not going to go in. Um, the okay, so such a PETA. Yes, they are cute. It's like, oh, look at them. They are very destructive. They can be. And so, like I said, especially if you're trying to protect your food and protect what you are working so hard to grow and put up and everything, so you're for your family. So Patty, she says, it seems I'm working on the landscape and layout more than the gardening. Oh, yeah, it does take a lot of work. It certainly does. But like I said, if you're able to put in more, you know, perennials and like maybe perennials that you have, being able to split them. Hostas are good. I don't know that if deer eat hostas or not, but and that's another thing. You don't want to create a nice salad for them on the outside either. But last few days you've had 3 mama turkeys and their babies and your blueberries. Oh, they do eat hostas. Oh, okay. So that would not be something you'd want to put around the garden then. So I didn't know. I don't get deer here, which I'm very thankful for and grateful for. Even though we're just a little teeny spot out in the middle of the prairie, and I know that there are deer around, they don't come. I'm more in the center of our little town, so they don't come all the way into here. I think there's probably too much traffic going by. So, and they do eat lilies. Okay. Well, I know that there's, excuse me, a certain crop they don't like, and I can't remember if it's barley or sorghum. It's one that's like they won't touch. So in like there are some fields that farmers will plant that particular grain all around their like their corn or their wheat field or something like that, so the deer won't come in and eat all that. Do I have bears? I have never seen one around here. You have to go a little bit further north of me. So I think we're too wide open, too much prairie here, that I don't think it's been conducive for them. You have deer yard every other day. Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh. No, Gil is totally fine. What are you having for dinner? What do you consider your low carb dinner? That would be interesting to know. So those marigolds called maybe Aztec to get bigger flower head. Yeah. Marigolds are a very strong flower that a lot of them won't come to at all. So, hi, Chrissy does gardening. Hello, welcome. The bottom of the property with the touch the garden beside the house. Oh, Well, that is strange. So there must be something there that is appealing to them. Hmm. So you see a lot of deer in town. Interesting. Donna, you've had deer peeking in your living room window. Oh my goodness. They must have smelled something good and were very, very hungry. So, you know, maybe there's deer that come wandering through, but I have never seen one. I've been here 27 years. And so it's, like there might be maybe some of the houses on the outside of town, on the edges of it, where the fields are and everything, they might have an issue, but I just haven't seen any come in. Hey, Japham, how are you? Well, Christy, hi, welcome to you. So, if you have small animals like voles or rabbits or moles, armadillos, squirrels, mice, gophers, skunks, raccoons, or woodchucks, those are just a few of them. They love to dig under the fence. So you might have this beautiful fence and with, a double layer of like a 2 inch by 3 inch fence and then lined with chicken wire, all this kind of stuff to prevent things coming out. But all of a sudden they start digging underneath, and you're like, oh, and then you don't see them. You don't know, how to do them. The thing is that you've got to put your fencing down at least 12 inches, because when they start digging and they keep right into that, then they'll stop. They might go look for another place, try to dig down. But so when you're putting in your fence, make sure to dig a 12-inch trench all around it where your fencing is going to go, and then put that down in there. Um, so, armadillos would dig, all that kind of stuff. So, okay. Then the other thing is with moles, voles, and mice. Well, mice can actually, I don't have a pencil, but mice can get into a hole that's the size of a pencil. And so it's really hard to, it's like, what do you do with that? Yeah, 12 inches is deep, but that does help a lot. So burying that down there, you for anything that digs like that, you won't have to worry about that. Now, there again, it's like, okay, I'm going to put in a 3-foot fence. Well, if you're putting 12 inches of that underground, then you're only leaving yourself 2 inches on top. So you have to make sure that your fencing is tall enough for how you want the final product to be. Yeah, Jay, from there's that too. I mean, there's 2 different ways you can do it, and I was going to get to that too. So, but this is if you're burying it 12 inches down. There's another thing that you can use. And a lot of you know what this is, but we call it hardware cloth or hardware mesh, and comes in a roll like this. It's a very it's a very stiff wire, and this is a 1/2 inch grid, half-inch wire. You can get a 1/4 inch too, which is very tightly meshed. But if you have a lot of problems with mice, you can attach this wire to your fencing. Let's say you get 24-inch, or this is actually 34. So I think, yeah, not 34, 36. So it's 3 foot, a 3-foot roll. Boop, boop. There you go. So if you went down 12 inches and then brought it up 2 feet above the ground, you can then attach it to whatever, like a cattle panel or whatever fencing you have that will give you that extra, say you have a 5-foot fence above or something like that. So you can attach that in that way. Sorry, I missed your dinner there, Gil. What are you saying here? Caramel baking soda oh yes. Okay. And chocolate. Oh, okay. Gil has a good recipe there for getting rid of mice and rats. That's really good. Landmines. That is true. That's true. Um, yeah, I thought that was he was giving up his dinner there too. So anyway, the wire mesh, you can put it down too, and that will help. Let's say you have a lot of trouble with mice and voles. Use the 1/4 inch hardware mesh, and then put that down further. I would also, if they're digging under and getting into your beds, like gophers and things like that. Now I know Heaven's Essentials has done this, and it's an excellent idea. But taking this hardware cloth or the hardware mesh, when you're building your beds, build it, lay down the this hardware cloth on the ground in the base of your bed, and then you can always put a weed barrier over that or something too, or cardboard, all the stuff that you want to have down there. But put the hardwood cloth at the bottom, so then you don't have to worry about anything digging up underneath your bed in that way. So that's for the individual bed. But for your garden fencing, the perimeter fencing itself, you can put this under there. Now, another way, and again, go 6 to 12 inches for any of those smaller things like that. So chocolate X-Lax works on your bowls. I love the ideas that you guys come up with. So good. So you fed it to the feral hogs. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's too funny. Cornmeal and chocolate attract the mice. The baking soda kills them. Wow. Okay. So they just kind of blow up then? Oh, so you staple it to the inside of the bed. Ah, okay. Good point, Julie. She stapled it in there. So Patty, good point. It's like our research today is to try to figure out if mice will pass gas, right? Oh, you don't want them crawling into under your porch or something like that either. So coat Alka-Seltzer tablets with that concoction. Oh, there you go. Yes, they do, Christy. Absolutely, they do. You put the weed cloth to keep the dirt from running out. Yeah. Yeah, she's done a great job there. All right, so back to my fencing. So anyway, so that's the animals who are digging, and things like that. The other thing that you can do to help prevent the digging animals, and it works, but it creates a few other issues with that. So what you can do is, let's say, here's your fence, and you've put your wire in, and instead of digging it down 12 inches under the ground, you take it and you bend it at a 90-degree angle, and then put it out about, I think you said about 2 feet out here. So you're bending that out, so when they're kind of going in, they can't. They want to dig close to the vertical. So if they come against that wire, they can't dig through that, and that will discourage them. And you can do that with the hardware cloth. You can do it with chicken wire. You can do it with different things like that. No kidding, Christy. Oh, beer to get rid of mice too. Oh, Well, Gil, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate that. So you do the L. Okay. Yep. So you can do that. Um, a couple things that you might run into with that is, um, if you have to mow up against that, or you've got plants that you're trying to do, their roots are going to get into the middle of that, and especially if you need to pull them out. So because I've done that too. I've curved it here, and it works to a degree, but after a number of years the wire starts to um, rust, and it just it wears out, and things could break off and different things like that. And I've found that just putting it under the ground is the most effective way in that way. So, especially the chicken coop to keep the predators out. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that works really, really good. So, um, yeah. So we've got our recipes here for getting rid of. Now, Gil's not here anymore, but I wonder if that concoction will work for. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. If that will work for gophers and squirrels too. I wonder. So that would be nice to know, because then we could keep them out too. Um, so when you're putting up your perimeter fence, and you want it to be a permanent thing, just make sure that you pull the fencing tight enough, and you might want to get what they call a come along, which is kind of a ratchet type of thing that helps to stretch the fencing to get it nice and tight. Because if you've got a loose, saggy fence, that's going to encourage animals to jump on it and get over it too. So um, you want to try to make sure that that's all taken care of. Try not to leave any gaps. Again, weaknesses, the animals will find that, and they will get in there. Um, so let's say you set your fence up to protect from deer, and then all of a sudden you find out you have rabbits too, and they're getting in there, because rabbits can, I even bought rabbit fencing, which has like the narrow things. It's not the 2x4, but it's like, or 2x3 squares. So 2x3 or 2x4, but the bottom foot of them go narrower. Well, guess what? They still made it through all that, or they would jump up into the taller ones that were bigger. And so I had to put chicken wire as a double layer around my fencing. So the chicken wire goes up at least 18 inches. My fencing is 3 feet. And so anywhere from 18 to 24 inches, foot and a half to 2 feet goes around. And so that keeps the rabbits out. Yes, cats are a good help with rabbits, definitely. So you can do that, but just try to figure out, like what is getting in there, what is not. Now, if you have like this beautiful, blueberry patch or raspberry or whatever, and it's bigger than just being able to put bird netting over it for just the birds. Say there's, squirrel that's getting in there, climbing up the fence, getting down, and going in underneath and eating all of your berries. Could be your grapes too, all that kind of thing. Well, think about creating kind of it's almost like, think of a 4-poster bed, with the really tall things, and then you've got this canopy over it, just over your berries that are being affected. So you could put up like an 8-foot stake, on the corners, or however big it is. You might need them every 3 feet or something, and then put some some nice mesh covering over that. Not like this hardware cloth stuff, but a lightweight mesh that would be even better than bird netting, but something that you could, excuse me, put all the way around the sides and over the top to keep them from getting in. So you saw a bunny squeeze through your dad's chain link fence. Well, if he wants to do that, plan extra for the native critters. I guess that's totally a good one too. But another type of fencing that a lot of you have seen for bigger homesteads that are using is the Premier One electric netting fence. And so that works really good if it's going to be like a temporary type of protection or fence, or if you're rotating things around, that will keep out a certain amount of animals, that are not diggers necessarily. So, it can keep out your coyotes, your fox, and your different things like that. But if you're dealing with the hedgehogs and the ones that are digging, and the armadillos and all of these others that dig underneath the fences, your electric fence is not going to do any good. So also with rabbits, if you already have an established fence and you can't really add anything else to the fencing itself to keep the rabbits out, you can get like a 1-string or 2 of electric wiring that you could put really low. Have the first one at about 4 inches from the ground and run it around, and have the second string about 6 inches above that, so that they're trying to get in or over or something, it'll still shock them. So you could certainly do something like that. Your fence is 1 by 2 and the rabbits get in. Yeah, it's amazing. You just like, how can this big old fuzzy thing get through something like that? A sacrificial garden. You could do that. You could put some catnip around some of the areas to draw the cats in, to keep the rabbits out. It's always something. But while fencing does a great job for most animals, you'll still be pretty lucky if you never have any animal problems. They're out there. We're putting food out in their area, and so it's like, how do you keep them from stealing it, because they don't know proprietary things. Yeah, it's like they don't sit there and think, oh, that's the master's food, we can't touch that. It's like, no, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat that, right? That's true, Julie. Maybe it'll just make them so mellow, they'll just like, yeah, anything can walk by. I didn't think about that. So really, there's 6 main tips in installing your garden fence. Make sure it's tall enough. Bury your fence 12 inches underground. Use hardware mesh for the base of the garden fence. Install your fence correctly, whether you use, cattle panel, wire mesh, just whatever it is that you are using for your fencing. And that's really, that's up to you. There's no right or wrong in that, but these are just the tips for keeping critters out. And that's kind of what I'm, focusing on here. Don't be afraid to make adjustments when necessary, and keep an eye out for areas that need to be repaired. Don't think that you can put fence out and that's it for the next 50 years. It's you have to kind of watch it. You weaved an old strap in the fence to stop baby chicks from going through. Oh, yeah, catnips and your cats don't bother it. Oh, interesting. So they like the dry catnip instead. Fences work best when the animal doesn't know what it's protecting. So think about that one for a while. If they don't know what it's protecting, it works really well. So in other words, have the fence up first before you start growing food. A hungry animal knows food is available, or that knows food is available, will try harder to get through any fence. Um, if you're in town, this might be even a better option to have a solid fence. Um, trying to think. I don't see Connie on here, our Tiny Acres. I was just trying to remember. I know she's got a lot of fencing in her yard, and I can't remember if it's solid or not. But in town, you get a lot of the solid wood fencing that goes around for your properties and everything. So one time you planted a lot of fancy lettuce. You had so many bunnies eating it, people were stopping their cars. Oh, Christy. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that is interesting, Kiri. Oh, my goodness. So, anyway, solid fences provide a visual block so that they don't know what they're missing. If they don't see it, they can smell a certain amount, but if they don't see it, they'll kind of ignore it a little bit more. Electric fences are more expensive and need maintenance, but they make less of an impact on your view and can be more effective than solid fences. Here's a wonderful little tip for any electric fence. If you want to make sure that the animals know that it's a hot fence, smear a little peanut butter on the fence as soon as you put it up to entice the animals to get shocked. I hope PETA's not watching or anything like that, but it's something that can definitely work. Oh, Chrissy, oh no. I know how that works. Oh. So, yeah, they'll be less likely to test that fence again. And it also try to keep the vegetation from touching the fence. It will reduce its charge or ground it out. So you want to make sure that it's there. Yeah. Also, make sure that if you're in the city limits, you check your local ordinances on building fences. Large fences may block desired views or violate certain codes. And they might say, well, we don't want anything permanent in here. So you might have to do like a Premier One, type of thing. So, again, build the fence to fit the animal, whatever you have struggles with here. I'm not going to build a fence for deer and armadillo and all kinds of big digging animals if I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to put my fencing up for what I have problems with. So that's what it is. Yes, bait them with some peanut butter. So kind of for the height, and only got a couple minutes left, but cats and dogs, a 3-foot high wire mesh fence anchored with sturdy posts will keep them out, and that'll do fine. For rabbits, you need at least 2 feet of chicken wire with a 1-inch diameter hole, nothing bigger than that. And again, either bury it a foot or create that apron with the foot out of it. So woodchucks are good climbers, along with raccoons and opossums. And so any fence that will have to be unattached at the top 18 inches or have electric wire strung across it to discourage them. It should be a 4-foot tall fence and with a 2-foot wide apron, that L thing buried a few inches below the soil to stop them from burrowing. You can also put an electric fence a few inches outside of the wire fence. Any tunneling, gophers, chipmunks, moles, again, we talked about that, but you need to have, again, at least the 3-foot fence on the outside and then going down even 2 feet if you wanted to, but 12 inches is definitely good. Raccoon and opossum, oh yeah, they already talked about that. 4-foot fence coyotes. You could use a sheep fence. You could start with a perimeter electric fence, and then put another string another wire from that a few inches in front of that fence, about 8 inches high, and that will help to keep them out of there too. So because they jump, if you need to add an extra electric wire on top of that. Bears, if you have bears around there, they can easily maul most fences, but they can be discouraged from entering an area they have not explored yet. Since they don't like walking over chicken wire, lay a 3 to 4 foot wide swath of chicken wire on the ground, secure it well, and keep the area mowed. Electric fencing is effective if bears encounter the hot fence before they know about the food source on the other side. So, again, make sure that you've got that coming out there really far. All right. You guys still hanging in here with me? My garden tip. Okay. So all of this stuff on the fencing and tips and stuff like that, I've got links below. There's one that's a Pinterest link that gives all kinds of pictures of different fencing options. There's 54 different views there of ways that you can build your gardens and your fences and everything. That subject was just way too vast to put into 1 hour, so I kept it at like what height and what kind of fencing you will need for what critters. So that was my purpose for tonight. So my garden tip for tonight is to begin incorporating perennials, which we talked about last week, but start to incorporate those into your gardens if you haven't yet. This is long-term food production for you. So think of them as a long-term food production. My prep tip is oh, you're welcome, Patty. My prep tip is start collecting your supplies for the winter. Wood, clothes, food, and fuel, etc. We're at August 1st now, and I know it's hot and everything, and we don't want to think about winter, but don't wait until it turns cold to depend on getting things, because it might not be there at that time. So you guys, thank you so much for coming along with me. You have some great tips and great great input here. You guys are wonderful. Appreciate it so much. All right, you guys take care. God bless. Always have hope, and we will see you next week. Take care.